Cowboys news, Davante Adams trade talk has some wondering about Dallas, as usual. The latest news around the Dallas Cowboys. Could the former Green Bay Packers and his $88 million cap hit reunite with Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys? What is a trade destination list without Dallas listed somewhere? Like the Bills, the Cowboys had a quiet offseason, and it has been a growing topic of debate as the team has started slowly out of the blocks at 2-2. You can never count the Cowboys out in any potential deal, even if they have not been a big swing team with this type of move in recent years. With the makeup of their offense now, short-handed in the backfield, this is a pass-first offense. But beyond CeeDee Lamb, do the Cowboys have a game-changing pass catcher? Jake Ferguson is a solid threat at tight end, and Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolbert have their imprint on the scheme, but an Adams-Lamb pairing might instantly make them the top WR combo in the league. This one feels less likely than the others above them on the list, but there's no doubting the pressure in Dallas right now. Everyone, starting with owner Jerry Jones, wants another Super Bowl title badly. Getting Adams would help their chances, but it also wouldn't be a cure-all for what currently ails them on defense and elsewhere. Coaches seeing a more confident Mazi Smith, Kyle Youmans, DallasCowboys.com. Mazi Smith turning the corner as a pro would be a fantastic development. Smith put together his best game as a pro in Week 4 with a pair of run stops and an all-around confidence builder in the game as the Cowboys stopped the run and beat the Giants 20-15. Paired with Smith's fourth-quarter performance against Baltimore, there are signs that he's turning his season around. Getting more confident, comfortable. Those are two things that I see from him each and every day, head coach Mike McCarthy said. More of a consistency, particularly the nose stunt, he hit two of those nicely in the game. It's a game of consistency, but I definitely see a more confident Mazi Smith. It boils down to technique. Smith, who has struggled to anchor the defensive line, finally had success in doing so against the Giants. Just trusting the people around me, Smith said. The pieces around me and trusting the game. I've been playing for a long time. It's finally come to fruition in my play and have to keep building, stay low with my pad level. Over the first 3 games, Mazi was graded as the 123rd defensive tackle out of 124 total in the NFL by Pro Football Focus. He went from a 33.0 grade in Week 3 against Baltimore to the highest grade of the Week 4 matchup with a 88.4 overall defensive grade. I think Mazi has a lot more confidence right now, defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer said. When we got to training camp, I'm not sure he had that kind of confidence, but I think it's continued to grow. More times you catch him doing things right, the better he does things. Hopefully he's walking around with his head high and his chest out this week. Cowboys DE DeMarcus Lawrence going on IR for Lisfranc injury. Todd Archer, ESPN. The Cowboys made the move we knew was coming. The Dallas Cowboys are putting defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence on injured reserve because of a Lisfranc injury to his right foot and have signed defensive end KJ Henry off the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. Lawrence is expected to need 4 to 8 weeks to recover from the injury he suffered in the third quarter of last week's win against the New York Giants, but he will not require surgery. The Cowboys are preparing to play without edge rusher Micah Parsons this week because of a high left ankle sprain. Poachers are what the Dallas Cowboys need to beat Cody Warren, inside the star. The Cowboys could add to their roster by poaching practice squads. Here is some running back help if the front office goes poaching. Christopher Rodriguez, Washington Commanders PS. Christopher Rodriguez would be the perfect player to poach. He's a bigger back who can make the challenging runs. He is 5'11" and 224 pounds, so he can take on hits and move a pile, which is something our current backs are unable to do. Rodriguez showed last year he can run the ball in this league even with a subpar offensive line. In 51 attempts, he rushed for 247 yards for 4.84 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. He had 9 rushes for 10 or more yards in those 51 attempts. How many 10-plus yard runs do the Dallas Cowboys running backs have this year? The answer is 1. Cowboys signing edge KJ Henry from the Bengals practice squad. RJ Ochoa, blogging The Boys. KJ Henry is familiar with the Cowboys' defensive line coach, Jeff Scanina. On the other side of the defensive line, DeMarcus Lawrence has a foot injury that is expected to sideline him somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks. He is, obviously, a candidate to officially head to injured reserve soon. The most common sense in the world dictated that Dallas would soon enough bring in some pass rush help, and that officially happened on Tuesday morning. ESPN reported that Dallas is signing KJ Henry to a 2-year deal off of the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. The hashtag Cowboys are signing pass rusher KJ Henry to a 2-year deal, active roster, off the hashtag Bengals practice squad, per sources. Henry had 1.5 sacks last year for Washington. Help on the way for depleted Cowboys pass rush. The Washington Commanders drafted Henry in the 5th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. He was the second pick of that round, so he went somewhat early-ish on Saturday. As far as this season is concerned, Henry appeared in 2 games for the Bengals, their first 2 of the season. He logged only 2 snaps in the season opener against the New England Patriots, but saw a bit more work a week later against the Kansas City Chiefs. In that Chiefs game specifically, he had 1 pressure on Patrick Mahomes and had an overall pressure rate of 16.7% for the contest. New Dallas Cowboys pass rusher KJ Henry has 1 quarterback pressure to his name so far this season. It came in Week 2 as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Cowboys urged to add former number 4 pick by ex-Dallas star, would be a dog. Given the state of the Cowboys' offense, Dallas is really in no place to scoff at anything these days. So maybe the team should take some advice from former Dallas star Dez Bryant and find a way to bring in languishing Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts, a player whose production in 4 NFL seasons does not appear to match his natural ability. Pitts, the number 4 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft out of Florida, was a Pro Bowler as a rookie, when he logged 68 catches and totaled 1,026 yards while playing for offensive-minded coach Arthur Smith and catching passes from polished, though 36-year-old, Matt Ryan. Pitts went awry from there, though, flailing with Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder at the quarterback spot in the next 2 seasons. This year, with Kirk Cousins on board, Pitts was expected to flourish again. Instead, he has caught just 8 passes for 105 yards through 4 games. Bryant, who has been very active talking about the NFL on Twitter/X over the years, was asked about Pitts by a user on the platform. He wrote that Pitts was being misused, and that a move to the Cowboys could change that for him. Kyle Pitts would be a dog in Dallas. On Sunday, user Mike_Lowry7 asked Bryant for his analysis on Pitts, writing, "At Dez Bryant, please watch Pitts' tape and tell me if he is a great route runner and do he run through his routes, please, and be honest with your assessment." While Pitts has taken plenty of criticism for how he runs routes and his level of engagement during games, Bryant said he still has upside but was not being exploited by the Falcons. That's when Bryant responded that he'd like to see Pitts in Dallas. "It's hard to be great at anything if you are not featured. Atlanta is not the place for Kyle Pitts. He would be a dog in the Cowboys' offense and the Commanders' offense. It's hard to be great at anything if you are not featured. Atlanta is not the place for Kyle Pitts. It would be a good idea for former star Cowboys not to suggest transactions that would benefit the Commanders, of course, but Bryant's point is valid. Pitts belongs in an offense that can take better advantage of his skill set. If the Cowboys want to get hold of Pitts, though, it still would likely require a trade." Despite his struggles, in April of this year, the Falcons exercised their 5th-year option on Pitts for 2025, worth $10.5 million. Cowboys pretty loaded at tight end. In the wider picture, it is unlikely that the Cowboys would make a move for Pitts, not so much because they could not take advantage of his ability, but because they have plenty of needs on the roster, and tight end is not one of them. The Cowboys had a breakout star at the position last season, as Jake Ferguson established himself as a reliable target for Dak Prescott, catching 71 passes for 761 yards in his second NFL season last year. Ferguson was named to the Pro Bowl for his efforts. Dallas also used a second-round pick in 2023 on Luke Schoonmaker, out of Michigan. Schoonmaker played 17 games last season, but had quiet stats, recording 8 catches for 65 yards. This season, he has 7 catches for 48 yards.